Welcome to the beautiful Chorus Entertainment Building in downtown Toronto for our next episode of the Legal Briefs Network. I'm Joseph Neuberger, joined with my good friend Lauren Honigman.
Hello, Joe.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. Nice night.
Lovely night. A little
Yes.
too humid.
A little too humid, but a nice night to be cycling as long as you're not getting into disputes with cab drivers in the city.
Or anybody else. We got to
Yeah.
look out for those cyclists.
Yes.
Interesting case because
Yes.
this is the case where a taxi driver was caught on camera.
Oh, I'm glad you used those words, caught on camera.
Caught
Yes.
on camera
Yes.
because we know what they do when they're not on camera.
Right.
Caught on camera, hitting or running off a cyclist
Appearing
off the street,
to,
appearing to,
yes.
and was charged with dangerous driving, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And I think as a result of additional evidence,
Yes.
the cyclist is now charged.
Yes, and this was a great case for me because I felt like I was the lone voice out there, Joe. All joking aside. Everybody's talking about video in the justice system,
Yeah.
how video's changed everything. It's changed the playing field. Everybody out there now looks at the video and we have 6 billion jurors out there around the world. This is one case when it happened. Everybody went, oh yeah, the cabbie's got to get charged. And I said, I don't mean to pat myself on the back. I said, well, wait a minute. Maybe we don't have all the context.
Absolutely.
Context. Yeah. And now, obviously, there's something that may have happened before what was captured on camera.
Absolutely.
Right.
But this is a good point for us to talk about. The videoing ability, the ability for people with their Android phones or their iPhones or whatever they have to capture something that is going on that potentially is a crime is a powerful tool now. It's not the panacea, and we have to take it into context.
Right.
But you can see the role it played in that case involving the officer, Fusillo,
I know.
where that footage was
I
extremely
understand.
important and where that case probably would not have come forward but for that footage. And we can think of other instances where it can exonerate and it can also incriminate an individual.
Right.
So it has changed sort of the texture and quality of many trials that we have now than, let's say, it was 20 or 25 years ago.
Okay, so let's everybody who thinks this is a good idea and it's changed the justice system for the good. Let's talk about something, Joe, about privacy. So you're out there and you're shooting video.
Yeah.
And somebody says, police are investigating. They go, oh, there's a guy, Joe Neuberger, well-known guy, criminal lawyer, hangs out with this guy, Honigman. You'll find him. He shot this video, and I know he's got it on tape, and the police knock on your door. Hey, Mr. Neuberger, how are you? We understand you have
we'd
video.
like your tape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd like tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're shaking your head. You know where I'm going with
Absolutely.
this. Right.
Yeah.
And you go, well, I don't know. Do you have a warrant? And where are we with that? You see what I mean?
I do,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we're already there with cell phones. You know, we've got the court decisions about if you're arrested or detained, they can have a cursory search your phone.
Right.
Our rights to privacy have been being eroded over the last decade like nothing. I mean,
Right.
our constitutional rights have been eroded. We barely have a right to privacy in our own home. So if it's relevant evidence is captured on video, it's real evidence.
So you're gonna
they can
just
come
hand it over.
They can come after it.
Listen.
And then a citizen can decide on their own if they want to do it. If they
Oh.
resist,
Citizen
then, you know,
can decide. What people don't understand, Joe, is they think that it's okay, everybody's going to be a videographer. Everybody's going to be a cameraman, like our good buddies here, Pedro and John. Everybody's just going to be out there shooting. And they don't understand that they could be now an adjunct of the police, of the investigation. You know, news organizations have fought for years, way back into the 80s, to try and keep the police from coming into the newsroom and seizing video because they were at a scene. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. I think people have to think a little bit about this before they say, what a great change to the justice system.
Well, I think everything has to be tempered, but you're absolutely right. People who are doing this can be conscripted into the system. And let's look at it from another angle. If something is occurring, the object of somebody videoing it and doing it so that everybody around is seeing it can also be a provocation. It can also cause all sorts of other
Yes.
issues as a result of it.
Yeah.
We've seen it in police confrontation situations.
Right.
But we
Cop
cannot,
baiting, it's called. by the
Cop
way.
baiting.
Yeah.
So it can be very provocative. But you
Right.
know what? We cannot turn back time. This technology is here. I think what has to be come to terms with, what there has to be good grappling with, is how do we handle it in cases, whether they're civil or criminal? How does a prosecution handle it? How do we properly have it flow out in a context
Right.
so it is not an unfair representation of what happened? And then, you know, you'll see how a defense or the prosecution can try and cast it. That's where we have to be careful, because I think potentially it is so powerful a piece of evidence that we have to be very careful How do we portray it? How do we deal with it? How do we ensure that there's proper context? Because you're right, some altercation, some physical altercation occurred before the cabbie did what he did. And we don't know the full truth now anyways.
Here's the problem. For somebody like me who deals a huge part of my practice in libel law and reputation management, this particular cab driver, I mean, his reputation, if I was going to say it right now, based on the video out there and all the comments, maybe about a 1 out of 10, maybe a 0.5.
Sure.
And now people, because they didn't get the whole story, that's part of the problem. You have, it's out there, people put it up on social media, and away we go, that's it.
Right, but we see that across the board. Let's put aside the video evidence. What happens when somebody's charged with an offense and then there's a press release done about an hour or two later? Such and such a person was arrested for such and such an offense. And it goes up all over social media. It's all over the news. And when that person's acquitted, do you see the press release that comes afterward? The police put up a press release going, well, you know, he wasn't convicted. You know, we don't see that. That still stays up on the internet. That person wants to search themselves. It keeps popping up. They have to hire experts
but the
to deal
video
with it.
now, the video is a little different.
Absolutely.
I think
it's
the
very
lesson
damaging.
the lesson here is everybody thinks it's a wonderful thing. I've heard other lawyers talk about it. Won't mention names. I've heard other lawyers talk about how it's the greatest thing for the justice system right now. Well, you know, be careful what you wish for, because there's a lot of context problems. There's a lot of problems or potential problems that I don't think has been ironed out yet. And this one case right now is a perfect example of let's wait and get the context.
Well, I think this is something we should follow and come back on another episode. And what would be interesting maybe is to see or bring on a prosecutor or somebody who's an expert in video type of evidence and see what their opinions are on how we do that.
Yeah, let's
But
bring
this
them
is
on.
something we should follow, because you're right. This is an important issue which is going to continue to grow in our justice system.
For sure.
Okay? Until next time. There will be a lot more to talk about. Thank you for joining us on the Legal Briefs Network. Until then, Lauren, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We'll see you soon.